So I have talked to a lot of people in my community as well as the Dead by Daylight community about whether or not Dead by Daylight is really worth playing in 2026. I've gotten a lot of really interesting answers from a lot of people, so I've kind of narrowed it down to a set of pros and a set of cons. This is going to be mostly for if you're a returning player or if you're a new player, and I hope this list kind of helps out what you think of the game and what you're going to feel playing the game if you're picking it up for the first time, and kind of give some insight as to what to expect moving forwards if you're coming back or starting up playing again. So, starting off, I want to start with the pros. I don't want anyone to get the intention that I am purposely trying to meat ride this game. This is a game I've never been sponsored to play. I used to play this a little bit back on YouTube, a little bit on Twitch, but I don't do Twitch anymore. I don't live stream anymore. I rarely do content anymore. So I'm getting no benefit out of this other than just making the video for, just making the video. So there is no, bias coming here or anything like that. So for the first pro, I want to talk about the lore going into this. The entire game has been going for a really long time and has a ton of lore behind everything that goes into it, such as the entity, which is the main, I guess you could say god to some extent, who brings everyone into the realm to slowly be sacrificed or kill their way through everything. It's a pretty interesting concept overall, and every character at least has some level of world building behind them. Even the characters that are from crossovers and things like that, they always try to give some insight as to, hey, this is why this character is here, this is what they did to get pulled in, or, this is when they got pulled in, rather. And they go on that for quite some time, and you can really just sit there and deep dive into all the lore if you want. There are a ton of videos out there on YouTube that show off all the different content of the character bios, theories that have gone on in the community for so long, and even just outright conspiracies that people really love, such as people claiming that certain characters are the entity and things like that themselves. I always thought that was kind of neat to go into, and if you're not big into playing other games, and this is just a game you picked up at Walmart for $10, then, you might want to dive into that and just learn a little bit about it. It can really be fun and change your opinion and perspective on a lot of characters. The next part that I honestly feel is one of the crowning things about Dead by Daylight is being able to play it with friends and have a fun time if you're not taking this game to any serious degree. I think if you want to get into this game and play it on a competitive level, on a really hardcore level, you're really hurting yourself long term. I don't think that's a good idea. The game has been going for such a long time that you're going to be really far behind, although the game has a lot of really great catch-up mechanics to get you the perks, the gear, everything that you could need to keep up with the everyday player. But I digress. There's still a lot of skill that needs to be caught up on, and even if you are someone who played this game competitively or religiously back in the day, I still wouldn't consider coming back to this game if you want to play it competitively, which kind of leads me into the next point. It is very rewarding to play this game and escape as a survivor or get that 4 kills in a row as a killer. The game genuinely does have a lot of sense of reward, a sense of accomplishment at the end of a rematch. And I think that kind of ties into the having fun with your friends thing. I know a lot of people in the community really hate 2v8. I personally really love it when I'm playing as killer, whenever I'm playing as survivor with my friends, because we typically only have 3 of us on at a time. We'll normally go to only 1v4, just because it's, we only want one teammate who might not do anything versus having 5 teammates who might not do anything, because typically that ends up being the situation we get stuck in, but we typically try to make a good time out of it anyway. And as I said, the game can be absolutely hilarious even if you have a teammate who is brain dead, and so long as you're, as I said, trying to have fun, you will have fun with this. There's a lot of times where you can, just emote at the killer and they're gonna just nod their head, let you go, You know, there are times where you're going to have a sweaty killer who you do something absolutely stupid against, and it's just going to confuse them. You and your friends are going to have laughs playing this game if you try to just sit down and not take anything serious. On the note of the game being very rewarding playing, it does have a lot of cosmetics that you can get via this in-game store, whether it be with real money or not. You can get most of the things with in-game currency, except for like the legendary outfits and crossover outfits, things like that. That kind of irked me a little bit, but once again, this is a very old game that does need some source of income to continue playing. So I'm not very miffed about, there being microtransactions in the game, especially when you can't earn the in-game currency. So I'm kind of throwing that up there as a bonus because the cosmetics are really great. We have a lot of different crossovers that have happened in the past that will probably never come back, such as Halloween and Hellraiser, but we have some that are still in the game, like Alien, and quite a few more. There's so many that have happened in this game. Attack on Titan, Tokyo Ghoul. The game is really good when it comes to cosmetics, that sense of rewards and progression, with there always being, a new, this game's version of Battle Pass, I guess you could say. On that note, the longevity of the game is probably one of the best I've ever seen in a game, period. This has been something that I've said for a very, very long time. This game has constantly been updated ever since the day it came out. The devs are very active, talking to people and communicating things online, whether it be about bug fixes, patches, taking killers out of rotation because they're broken, things like that. They actively do. They struggle in some areas, admittedly, but it is a, like I said, very long-lasting game. They also don't intend to make a Dead by Daylight 2 from what I understand. They said they want to have this game last for 10 more years. So, if you're wanting to get into a game that's going to last, it's not exactly an MMO, of course, but it has a lot of lifespan, like one would. Moving on to the cons about Dead by Daylight, this is a game that has a lot of entitlement issues with its community. You're going to hear the term cult thrown around a lot when people talk about this community, and honestly, I don't blame people for saying that about it. The community as a whole can be very wholesome, and you'll find a lot of people in the community who go about writing their own stories about this game, who outright, like, you'll find, like, fanfic levels of stories in this game and in the community, such as Discord, Reddit, everything like that. But for that little bit of good, there is a lot of bad. You will find that a lot of people who play this game tend to be very hell-bent about this game being either perfect or absolutely broken. There really isn't an in-between. If you're playing as killer, if you do bad, people are going to call you bad. If you're good, people are going to call you bad. People are going to tell you cannot play this way because it is unfun for them, or that it is not sportsmanlike, not okay, not fun, not cool, and you're going to get called a lot of slurs on the way there too. That's just kind of how games like this tend to pan out with 1v4 style games, where you have one primary hunter versus four smaller, people. This has been like an ongoing thing for a long time. You see it in a lot of other games such as Evolve or Predator Hunting Grounds, where the people who mainly play as Survivor are going to complain until the person who is playing as the killer are going to either just want to stop playing or just not play anymore at all. You will get discouraged, as I said, if you take this game to any serious degree, or if you have thin skin. Now, if you are thick-skinned like myself and you find people raging funny, then this is the game for you. I would strongly recommend streaming this game, even, if you are very thick-skinned and you find that sort of thing funny. People will constantly tell you that, hey, this isn't cool, such as tunneling. Tunneling, if for those who are new to the game, is when you focus specifically on one survivor until they are dead. However, there are two sides to every coin, and a lot of killers believe that gen rushing also shouldn't be done too. And as I said, there's a lot of entitlement issues of every side of the community believes that every other side is wrong and should play a certain way. So moving on from that point, as I said, the community can be toxic and don't take anything to heart. But the next problem that this game strongly has is cheating. I've seen cheaters in this game since I came back, probably 1 out of every 10 games, and that's saying something. And typically, they're going to be very soft cheats. I'm not going to see people no-clipping into the sky and running through things and doing stuff like that, but a lot of the cheats you will see will be people slightly speed boosting around corners when they think that you're not seeing them, or killers swinging extremely fast whenever they're getting frustrated, people being able to flashlight save through walls or flashlight the entire map at one time. Stuff like that happens. It kind of comes with the game experience, and it's something you are going to have to deal with at some point or another, whether you're playing Survivor or Killer. You're going to see it on the other side, and you're going to have people constantly doing it. Another thing is that the game can feel extremely punishing at times. It feels a lot of times like if you make one mistake, this game can totally pound you in. It can constantly feel very pressuring. It can feel like you're not doing the right things at the right times. And honestly, a few mistakes as either Killer or Survivor can cost you the game. Which I feel like that is part of the reason that so many people take this game serious, and it's why so many people try to run the best possible loadout so they can. And I feel like because it's so punishing, it can also feel really rewarding when you do manage to get that win from the other side. Which brings me to my next point, and that is the gameplay loop. Realistically, the gameplay loop of Dead by Daylight is the exact same thing over and over. I don't want to oversimplify things, but I am going to for just a moment. It is quite literally spawn in, repair generator, get away. And if you are a killer, it is kill people repairing generators. Now, obviously, once again, everyone here knows I'm oversimplifying this, but the gameplay loop can feel very daunting if you've been playing for a long time, or if you put more than an hour or two in the game at a time. Strongly what I would recommend is to pick this game up with friends. Play for a few hours. And, don't play it for a weekend. Don't play it for the whole week. You're going to burn yourself out on this game very fast. It very much has that Mario Kart style feel where, okay, haha, we won, let's close the game and go play something else. And for those people who've been in the community for a really long time who are worshipping this game still to this day, still continuously playing it, that's going to be a totally different ballgame. People who've played this game for such a long time, who've played it every single day since release, who have 2,000, 3,000, 10,000 hours in this game, are going to feel totally differently than I do about that, and that is okay. But no one can deny the gameplay loop can feel daunting for the average person. And for my last point, being segued in by the gameplay loop, is that variety is punished. As I mentioned earlier in the video, if you are not running the best perks at all times on either side, you are going to feel nerfed into the ground. There are a lot of perks in this game that are accessible pretty early on that just feel like you have to run them. To give the perfect example for myself, I feel like Lightborn as a killer, which makes you immune to flashlights, is needed. I feel like that perk is just inexcusable to go without, because if you get into one of those lobbies where someone's running at you with a beam or flashlight, you are fucked. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. You're gone. That's it. You're out. It's not a pleasant experience, so I feel like that's one of the perks that I just have to run. It's too good of a perk to not run. So, all in all, I feel like Dead by Daylight is one of those games that, yes, it is worth playing in 2026. I would give this game a solid 7 out of 10 on a good day. And I think you should pick it up if you have some friends to play it with. If you're playing solo, I'd recommend only playing Killer or trying to meet people as you play the game, and pick up tips as you go. But that's my opinion. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below if you guys agree or disagree, and I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Have a good one.